We all have our
Many other
plans,
yes.
but it's God's purpose that will prevail.
What feels like chaos is God's unexpected path to your calling.
Sometimes what God will do is say, hey, come off the battlefield.
Yeah.
Go get your healing. But it won't happen the way you want it to happen.
When God says N-O,
Yeah.
it's because he K-N-O-W-S, right?
Learn to distinguish the disruptions that you caused versus the one that he allowed. What's up, everyone? Henry Fernandez here again on another podcast. I got my co-hosts, Carlene and Frederick.
Hey, everyone.
Well, we are going to disrupt everything right now and talk about this divine disruption.
Yeah,
you know, we have been week after week, you know, putting out episodes, dealing with pretty much every walk of life, every area of life. And this is a topic that I hope the real ones out there would really appreciate, because sometimes I think we don't realize that the disruptions in our lives, sometimes, not all the time, right? But there are moments when we experience disruption, and it's really God just redirecting us to his perfect will. You know, and I want people to understand this. You know, don't think that everything that's happening to you is bad.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes God is just sending a strong message. So, you know, I believe these disruptions that we call them are pretty much God saying, hey, I'm going to really shut down your plans. You know, I'm going to shut down your plans because I know you have your ideas and you think that you know it all, but I'm going to do something that will interrupt your plans so that you could be redirected to his perfect will. There's a scripture I'd like to read, and it's in Proverbs 19:21. Here's what it says. It says, many are the plans in a person's heart.
Come on.
I think all of us can relate to that.
Sir.
But it is the Lord's purpose. It's the Lord's purpose that prevails. And then Proverbs 16, verse 9, it says, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So the question that I would like to ask the team here is, have you ever had a moment when God completely hijacked your plans?
Took me up
You know, something you were pretty much passionate about, fully invested in, only to later realize that he was protecting you or repositioning you.
My gosh,
today.
so many
Why we say
things,
the
so many
same
things,
thing?
so many
Why we do that? Why we both say that?
Oh my gosh, I thought of so many things. I'll say this, you know, right before my life fell apart, as I would have it, and, you know, got a divorce after being married for 18 years. Like, we were planning to try to have children again, you know, and I feel like God interrupted the plans. So many plans were there in so many different ways, and I wasn't going to share this. I was going to share something else, but
you're talking to a lot of people. People can relate to
a lot of people.
That's why we call the show The Real Ones.
This is the real ones, y'all.
Right.
You know.
That's right.
And the fact of the matter is, God knows the end of it all. And lo and behold, my plan, even from a little girl, I wanted to have a lot of children. I wanted to be married forever. I'm the Mrs. Cleaver. But here I am, not married, no children. You know what I mean? And it's like, God, you totally disrupted the plan. Like, what's going on? What's the next play? But that's when I had to check myself and be like, if I said I'm going to trust you, I'm going to have to trust you that you know. And when God says N-O, it's because he K-N-O-W-S, right? So that's something that I rest in, that God knows, but he totally disrupted my plan. Like, a lot of dreams just came shattering down.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that, before you answer, Fred, and isn't it true that in moments like that, you know, when you're like, you had your checklist of things that you want to accomplish by a certain age and so forth, and to not see them come to pass. Watch this now. And to see that God disrupted your plan, your ideas and so forth. And sometimes don't you feel that, okay, I can accept that you've disrupted my plans, well, what's the plan?
What's the plan?
But what's the plan?
I mean,
Like-
it's like God. Okay,
so
all
you
right.
messed this up,
okay, all right. So what's the plan?
next?
What's the next
and
move?
sometimes that's
That's
hard
good.
because
That's true.
you know it's like you just can't see what He's up to, right?
Right, and then you're
that's
thinking
real.
too, like, okay, you know, you can kind of figure God out a little bit, right? It's like, okay, I have some scriptures to back it up. I went to church today, things were good. That word was for me.
Yes.
And the word that you think is for you, you know, maybe was for you, but it just hasn't manifested yet.
Right.
And now
Yeah.
you're really like, okay, God, I do trust you, but I just need us to have a little meeting, and I need you to just give me some timelines, just
That's
give me a
right.
little bit
Yeah,
of
yeah.
what's going to happen next, you know?
that's real.
Because when there's disruption, I mean, we understand that God is positioning us sometimes, just reposition us for different things, but it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know, just going through it, it's so hard. And then particularly when your plans are disrupted and you see the other person's plans succeeding, and you're like,
Right.
okay, God, we really
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
So, because I was going to give also relationship disruption as well, but I realized that what He protected me from, as I look back, I'm like, ooh, Lord, I thank you.
Right.
You got that same, scenario? when you-
Absolutely. I mean, years now later, I thank God because one, my life is not my own, and I know that God has a better plan for me.
Yeah.
And I've already settled in my spirit. I may never get married again. And it is okay if that's God's plan.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to remarry,
Yeah,
but I'm so
right.
settled in,
So
like,
put your
gonna
phone
disrupt
number in the chat.
Yeah, put your number
Where she can
in
reach
the
you,
chat.
please.
You know, and for the single ladies out there too, because I know I'm not the only one who's been through a divorce and you're feeling like, okay, maybe you have children, like, God, what's really next? And how do I navigate this particular season? And you knew it was hard with the husband, and now it's harder without the husband.
Yeah.
You know, but God's got you, and He knows why you're in that position.
And to Fred's point, I think people need to realize this, that some of the relationships that didn't work, you ought to thank God.
Come
Yes.
Put the fire emoji.
Put a hallelujah in the
right now.
chat.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
There are people perhaps watching this podcast today who are still lamenting over relationships that you have walked away from, or they have walked away from you.
Yes.
And you're still bitter, you're still angry about it. But it could be that God was saving you from something.
A lot.
You know, never become so desperate and needy that when you don't have a person in your life, you don't think you can move on.
That's good.
Don't ever get yourself to that position.
Yeah.
You know, now I do believe that there's some people who God has allowed good people to come in their path, and they just fumble the ball. They just messed
That's
up the
true.
relationship.
Yeah,
And
that happens.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about those.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just talking about people who, you know, it didn't work. You're still angry over it. You didn't like how she treated you, he treated you, and so forth. Let it go, because you never know. You didn't know, or have no idea, I should say, the
Right.
danger
Yes.
that was going to be in your future.
Yes.
There are people today who can tell you the relationship they walked away from, and now the relationship that they're in, they're thanking
Thank
God.
Oh, that's me all the way.
Yeah.
Henry, that is
Right,
me.
there you go.
There you
right?
go. Give me
You
some,
know,
give me some.
Right, because you know you're engaged. You're going
Yes,
to be
about to
married
be
a couple of
married.
months from now,
Yeah.
and I'm quite sure you shared it a couple of times on
Yeah,
the podcast.
yeah.
You know, the girl you were dating before. You know, fine. I'm quite sure you thought that was it. Whatever.
Oh, that's
And-
the one that came to mind.
You
Like
know.
that he hijacked. Like, Lord,
Well,
I thank you for
right.
hijacked.
To now give you
Yes.
Where
the
I'm at
future
now, the
bride of
future,
your life.
yes.
No, can you imagine if you had resisted that, resisted God,
Pushed,
and was persistent to hold on to the
Yeah.
previous relationship?
Right.
Because, you know, there's a lot of people watching now. They're settling.
That's so good.
'Cause
The
they don't-
most dangerous thing to do
Dangerous. Oh my
in
God.
life is to settle.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know that example that you probably seen on social media sometimes with the big teddy bear and the little teddy bear. So it's
Yeah.
like you're holding on to this little one, and behind the back, God has this big one
Yeah, I
for
have
you,
seen
but
that,
you can
yeah.
only hold on to what you can see, and that is
Right.
so dangerous.
Right, right.
You know,
only
don't
hold on to
settle.
what
And
you
that
can
brings me
see.
to think about even success, because sometimes we get into situations where we're like, I've achieved this success in my business or in, you know, whatever area of life it is, and I got to settle here. I got to hold on to this, when you may need to let go of that. So let's talk about that just for a little bit here. What happens when you stay too long in an area that, yes, you're successful in, but God may need to disrupt that area and to push you into something else.
Ooh.
What happens when you overstayed your
You
welcome?
overstayed your welcome.
That's basically
basically.
what you said.
When success isn't a time for you to stay there.
So, man, because something's going to give. For me, because I feel like I've done that before, it started to become chaotic. Like, stuff just started messing up for me. And I was like, this job is like the best thing I've ever had, and I'm getting more money than I've ever had in my lifetime right now. And I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there anymore.
How did you know? Like, what
Because
happened?
there was, for me personally, it was just like, I lost the passion behind it. But I stayed in it because of what it was giving me. Like, I lost the desire to really be there, and I felt like, this ain't really it, but because I'm in a position that I've never had, I'm the only person in my family that's had something like this. Like, this has to be it, so it must just be me. But then it came to around, but I actually got laid off. So it wasn't for me.
God knows how to disrupt your plan.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, it can, that is something that as an example, you know.
Well, sometimes what happens when you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that could be a sign of God disrupting your norm.
Yeah.
You know, I too experienced that when I was working for North Broad Medical Center.
Yeah.
I have a different spin on my story.
Yeah.
You know, hated the job, never loved it.
Wow.
I spent 9.5 years there, never loved it. And I did everything to leave,
Wow.
you know. And so I applied for Eastern Airlines job, got accepted. And just when I was getting ready to leave, I did like what most Christians would do. Instead of consulting God at the beginning,
Right.
you know, we
Just
wait till
thank
we
him
put
for
all
it.
the dots together and we
Right.
bring our idea to him and say, now bless
Bless it, yeah,
You
this
know?
would- yeah,
And
bless
then he
my
said to
thing.
me, no, don't leave your job. And I'm like, God, you're disrupting my plans. I had this all laid
The
out
plans I have for
because
me.
this job, you know, only pay me this.
Right.
I don't get certain benefits.
Right.
But with Eastern Airlines, I get all kinds of free travel with me and my wife.
Yeah,
I
the
got,
benefits.
you know, benefits, vacation. Plus it's what I love to do.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because sometimes, a lot of times, God will push you to do what you don't want to do and the things you don't like doing. Because I never wanted to be a pastor. But you
I see
see,
where you're going.
the road to my success
Yes.
had to do with a lot of disruption. And I want the real ones to hear me, because there's a powerful story behind this. So when God told me, don't leave your job, North Broad Hospital,
Right.
I finally obeyed, and I thought that was the biggest disruption in my life. And
What got you to obey? I just wanted.
you know, because I was just afraid that walking out of God's will, you know, that I would pay the consequences.
Got it.
You know, because
Got it.
Yeah, it's big.
there is consequences to disobeying God.
Yeah.
So I had enough sense to say, you know what, I reluctantly
Right.
I stayed. But here's what God did. He allowed me to stay on the job, and that company put a lot of money in training me. I got elevated to various positions, and I got trained in management and business.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Because he knew one day
Where you going? Oh wow.
that he was going to put the responsibility of leadership
Come on.
on me.
Wow.
So North Broward Hospital was my training ground.
Yeah.
And though I had my plans, remember the scripture I said before? We all have our
Many other
plans.
plans, yes.
But it's God's purpose that will prevail.
Yeah.
And looking back today, the disruption was for my good. So not all disruptions is for your
Yeah.
bad. It was for my good because it led me into my purpose. You know, so I'm doing what I'm called to do because he disrupted my plans
Free
at
training.
the hospital. That's
Free
it,
training.
Free training.
Yeah, free training.
You know,
I'm
and
gonna
so
throw out
forth.
a plot twist real quick. So when life flips without warning.
And it will.
And it does.
So, for example, you get a diagnosis, a job loss, a breakup, or a single event can change the entire trajectory of your life. But sometimes what feels like chaos, is God's unexpected path to your calling, like we were just talking about. Divine plot twist often exposes what's temporary so we can cling to what's eternal. And there's a scripture reference to this. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him,
Yes.
who have been called according to his purpose, which is Romans 8:28. My question, has there ever been a plot twist in your life that made you question everything? Everything? Everything.
Yes.
But now you can look back and see the hand of God on it. So, and how do we the second part to that is, how do we maintain faith when the narrative doesn't go as planned?
Lots of plot twists, lots. I mean, I can remember.
Because I was like,
No, I mean, I've lived, y'all. I've lived. A lot has happened in this little girl's life.
Yeah.
No, but I remember one time. So my degree's in multimedia journalism, right?
Nice.
After high school, I interned with Daniel Knox at Channel 7.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be an anchor, do my own talk show, all of that stuff. And I started my talk show, but things happened, didn't go forward with it after a couple of runs. And then I was like, okay, well, I want to, get picked up, do all of this stuff. Everyone in media, you can relate to this. Or if you've ever wanted to get that big job.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of networking, and on the path, someone came to me and offered me to, have my show. They were going to provide wardrobe. The audience was ready, all of this stuff. I just needed to show up. And I was like, okay, this is definitely God. This is on the path of what God wants for me to happen. But God was like, flip the script. No, not now.
Wow.
And it was a painful turn for me to turn that person down, a painful moment. And I referred someone else for the position, and then to see them doing it, I was happy afterwards, but just understanding like, wow, like God really will not let you do some things that he has not yet put in this time and season for you. And you have to be able to accept that, even though you want it really, really, really bad. So that was painful, but.
No, I get it. Henry, like, how do we recognize that it's actually God in that situation that's changing up? Because, for her, like,
it was
how did you, what?
But again, remember, his ways are not our ways.
Yeah.
His thoughts are not our thoughts.
Yeah.
So, you're going to find at times, we don't understand God's doing, because remember, we've got our plans. We've had it all figured out. You're thinking they got everything for you. That has to be God.
Right.
And at the 9th hour, everything just fell apart. You have no idea to this day, Carlene, what God was protecting you from.
Yeah, that's true.
See, sometimes what we want, we believe that we're going to get the answers to everything we're going through in life. There's some truths to why certain things happened that we will never know until that day.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
But we have to believe that God interrupted
We have to believe it.
our plans, such as yours, for a reason.
True.
I think I shared this before. I remember there was a deal, the first deal we were doing with this church, the Faith Center. And it was the church in Plantation we were trying to buy. I felt that was God's will. I mean, nobody could tell me that was not God's will. I told the people it's God's will. We were ready for it. We were prepared for it. At the 9th hour, the deal fell through. Was I disappointed? Absolutely. I questioned God. That was my first, blow as a minister. It was like God pulled the rug from under my feet.
Wow.
I felt embarrassed because here's the spiritual leader going up telling the people, we're going to do this, and this is the church for us, and so forth. And it never happened. Looking back now,
Thank you.
I'm saying, God, I thank you, because had we kept that building, we wouldn't have gone to Lauder Hill.
16th Street, yep.
Right? We would have missed the opportunity in Lauder Hill, because Lauder Hill actually set us up for where we're currently at in the city of Sunrise.
Yes.
So again, sometimes we don't see the long picture. We don't see the end result. right?
What we
And if
believe.
God would let us have our own way, we would have
Please, Lord,
ruined our
wrecked our
lives,
lives.
man. So I think, I think people need to get to that place where you accept the disruptions and learn to distinguish the disruptions that you caused versus the one that he allowed.
And that's
That
exactly.
See, because some
part.
disruptions,
You
we're on
caused
a
it.
really good path, man. We're on this path of we're in our career, everything. We're saving our monies. We're healed. Women are, you're healed, and you're like, I'm not getting into another relationship
That's
until
good.
God says so. But then you disrupt your own plans.
Yeah.
And suffer the consequences.
And blame
thereof.
God.
Yeah,
no,
there
that's
you go.
good because a lot of times we look outwards quickly. Something happens, we're like, this person caused it, or this caused it, or God. But what happened inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe something that we triggered,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
something that we caused.
That's
So it's
it.
important
That's
for
it.
us to determine
Yes.
that. And here I wanted to bring up this point because sometimes delayed dreams and timelines, speaking of relationships too, can become a very big thing.
Yeah.
Particularly believers, because I know we believe like God's just going to do it. Microwave situation.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
of us,
yeah.
not all of us, but
And when
you
it
know,
doesn't happen.
when it
Yeah,
doesn't happen,
yeah.
we're disappointed and all of that. So sometimes a disruption is not a denial, it's a delay. God may withhold certain blessings until our character, maturity, whatever it is, our humility is at the point where He
yeah.
really,
Living proof.
really wants to
I
be.
hear that. Me too.
And the timing, I mean, what does it say in the Bible? Like one day with God is like
Like
a million
1,000
years, 1,000 years.
Yeah,
Thousand.
1,000
Right? So
years.
His timing often takes us into spaces where we may feel like this is rejection, or we internalize it in so many different ways, but protection is what God is trying to do and sometimes prepare us. Let me read this scripture, which is very familiar. And this is Habakkuk 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it linger, waits for it. Somebody say wait. It will
Wait.
certainly
Yes,
come,
ma'am.
and it will not delay. Because I believe if God promised it, it's going to happen,
Right.
We don't know how, don't
Right.
know when, but it's going to happen.
Right.
Period.
It is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we handle the tension, though, that comes between our timeline and God's? And as believers, and just keeping it real, because that can really put us in a situation where we're just literally under mercy, rather,
How do you
waiting
handle
to
it?
see what God is going to
You
do.
just read the scripture. Just wait.
Just wait. What
Just-
does wait look like for a believer?
Don't make a
So-
move until God
Right.
says so.
Honestly.
I mean, it's very simple. I mean, you asked
Yeah.
the simple question.
Yeah.
Simple,
Simple, but how
just
the
what-
actuality of it.
See, this is what I live by. If I don't have clarity in what to do,
Don't do
I
it.
don't do anything. Some of us believe that in our waiting period that we are unproductive or we're lazy.
Because you see everyone else doing, so you
You're
may
not
feel
in
like
competition with people.
that is correct.
See, that's the problem. Well, you don't watch what other people are doing, or don't even worry about what other people think
True.
about you and why things are delayed in your life. The question, how do you handle the tension between your timeline and God's timeline?
Yeah.
Is simply saying to God, okay, I may want something, or things might have changed in my life, but God, I'm not going to make a move until I receive clarity, until I know you told me, God, I need to do this. As much as I feel different about it, I trust you and I won't do anything outside of your will. Recently I preached a message from the book of, I believe it's 2 Kings chapter 5, when Naaman was given instructions. This man who had leprosy, he was great, mighty warrior, fought many battles for his commander or his king and won. And so to the tail end of the story, when he got to Elisha's house, and Elisha didn't come out to talk to him.
disrespect.
He was angry. He was mad about, attitude. See? But then when he got the instruction to go down to the Jordan River and dip 7 times.
Yeah.
Now, you got to remember,
Jordan River.
this man, Naaman,
Right.
look at all of the ups and downs
Yeah.
his experiences had to take him to get to Elisha.
Yes.
First, remember, he was suffering from leprosy.
Yes.
Then he got a reference to the king of Israel, to heal him. The king got mad,
Yeah.
ticked off, saying, y'all trying to pick a fight with me, or your boss is trying to pick a
Yes.
fight. pick a fight with me, and so forth. Now he gets to the place before a man of God.
Right.
And he
Wave
felt
something.
that this man of God was going to complete the task, because it is not a comfortable place to be in when your body is being eaten away by circumstances. Leprosy, that's what it does.
That's it,
It's just eating your flesh away.
that's
And
true.
there are people watching today, circumstances are eating you away. And you're
Isolating
like,
them.
God, okay, I'm expecting certain things to happen.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Elisha to come out and
100%.
just wave his magic wand, be
Bam.
healed. Now, watch this now. Here's the moral of the story. He is now sending me down to the Jordan River. By the way, you have to do the research. That's the
River is
dirtiest
nasty.
water.
Nasty
I mean,
water.
so here's the thing.
Yes.
Why would God
Yes.
put in his divine will something dirty and muddy
Wow.
and messy
Yeah.
as a part of the process
And
to
not
get
only
you healed?
one time, but seven times.
Wow.
I didn't know you're trying to take my job. Let me preach my own
Wait,
sermon.
wait, wait.
I want you to preach.
Go ahead.
So your healing is in the muck. Lord have mercy.
I
Your
mean,
healing
you know,
is in the muck.
and you have to go in there 7 times.
Dips.
Times.
See,
My
if we just
God.
Wait a minute.
if we just listen,
one time?
That's
stop being
disruption.
impatient with God, right?
No.
And here, of course, because you know, Naaman could be out there fighting, but he had an issue. So many of us are trying to do life when we have a problem.
Yeah.
There are issues in our life, and sometimes what God will do is say, "Hey, come off the battlefield,
Yeah.
go get your healing," but it won't happen the way you want it to happen.
His way.
Right? And then he'll give you some instructions that will totally be against your norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that coming at all.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
So it's really like we have to do it God's way, because in order for you to get your breakthrough, the norm, what you're thinking, is not how it's going to happen. It's how He wants it
Right.
to happen. And you can miss your moment.
Yes.
We can miss our opportunity if we're to get besides ourselves and let pride come in now and say, well, I can't go dip in that water, or I can't go through this process. As
Right.
you were talking, I'm thinking, man, that feels like punishment in
And,
a
you see, and
sense.
this is where we get angry with God.
Yeah.
This is where we really get angry with God. And we need to be careful, because disruption can breed disappointment, even resentment. I'm not going to go to church no more. I'm not reading my Bible anymore.
Yeah.
This faith stuff doesn't work
work.
anymore.
Yes.
So it's okay to admit when you are frustrated with God. And a lot of people are like, oh, really? You can get frustrated with God? I am so glad that God's not sensitive
Never
like
thought you could do
humans.
that.
Come on, somebody.
You know what?
Yes.
You know, it's okay to get frustrated at God, because He can handle our honesty.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, He knows how we are. We're humans. You know, we're going to feel hurt and so forth, right? But real faith often involves wrestling with your reality and still choosing to have faith.
That's
Confidence.
it.
Choosing
Yeah.
to trust God. Because even now, as we're speaking, I'm quite sure if all of us were to begin to share our own testimony, that we've got some stuff eating at us.
Oh, that's so good.
Eating
Yeah,
at our
we got own
finances,
leprosy.
our
Yeah.
relationship, our business, or whatever it is. But we got to trust that in the midst of our wrestling with trying to understand, why is God taking so long to fix the matter? You know, why did He not allow me to just propel into greatness overnight? You know, we just got to trust Him in the meantime.
Yeah.
What did I think it was David who said it? Though He slay me,
Yet will I
Job.
trust Him.
Yeah,
yet
said-
Job. I'm
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, Job,
Job. You know,
Though he slay me,
though
yet will
He
I
slay
trust
me,
him. Yeah.
yet
Yes,
will
sir.
I
trust him.
trust Him.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. And the reason why I got, you know, I was talking about David, a thought came across my mind. Even with David, now watch this. You know, David was being hunted down by
His whole life.
Saul,
Yes, sir.
and he hid in a cave.
Yes, he did.
Sometimes life circumstances will push you into isolation.
Yeah.
I call it depression.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
good. That's your own
And if you're
cave.
not careful,
Yeah.
you start just having a pity party over your life, and you're thinking, God, you know, because look at David, the future king.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Right.
so you're saying,
Go through
God,
the throne.
I know what God told me. He told me I'm going to be a great woman of God, a great man of God. And why do I feel lonely? Why do I feel isolated? Why do I feel that I'm picked at? Why are the circumstances of life threatening me? Like David. But I'm so glad, and this is what I want to leave you with. I'm so glad that in the midst of David's experience, he was able to put some lyrics together,
Come on.
Wow.
some songs together,
Yes, sir.
so that generations later, we're
Still
reading
here.
them to motivate us and so forth. So
During those times,
God's
yeah.
disruption will help you fulfill your purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
It did for David.
Yeah.
So you
Do it for
hang
you.
in there, man. Be
Disrupt it,
strong
Lord.
and accept the disruptions that he allows.
Yes.
Not the ones that you've created, right? And once you know that God is in it, just trust him, even when you can't trace him. Please, I ask you, make your comments, share the podcast with someone, let them know this is a good conversation for them today. Remember, go to the store. The information is right there on the screen, and purchase an item. We would love for you to support us. And speaking of support, your given information is right there on the screen. You can sow into what we are doing, great or small. We cannot do this without you. We need your gifts today. Would you send a love gift in and let us know, encourage us, and let us know that you believe in us. We are the real ones.
Oh, yes.
You know, and we would love for you to just interrupt your day and just say, I want to sow into Henry Fernandez podcast. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.